Soy Guillermo Hunt, embajador de Argentina en Japón. Quiero contarles hoy que es una gran alegría y un honor saber que la obra Edificio Buenos Aires del reconocido artista argentino Leandro Erlich va a estar formando parte de la exhibición permanente del Towada Art Center en Japón. Vayan mis felicitaciones tanto para Erlich como para el Towada Art Center por este auspicioso hecho.
はい、皆さんこんばんは。本日はレアンドル・エルリッヒ・鷲田めるろオンライン対談をご視聴くださりありがとうございます。司会を務める十和田市現代美術館の中川と申します。十和田市現代美術館ではレアンドロ・エルリッヒの建物ブエノスアイレスを陛下の新しい常設作品として12月1日より公開しています。本イベントでは、陛下の館長鷲田めるろより建物ブエノスアイレスが、その作品の一部なんですけれども、である建物シリーズや、日本国内でコレクションされている、エルリッヒ作品を振り返りながら対談を行います。皆さんにとってエルリッヒさんの作品を深める機会に本イベントがなればと、幸いです。また本イベントではアルゼンチン共和国大使館より協賛いただき開催をしております。この場を借りて改めてお礼を申し上げます。では、レアンドロさん、鷲田館長、お願いします。
はい、ご紹介ありがとうございます。十和田市現代美術館館長の、鷲田めるろです。今日、ここの画面に、レアンドロ・エルリッヒさん入っていただいています。私は今新しく十和田市に、できましたレアンドロの作品の、今前にいます。その部屋の中にいます。で、この作品は、この場所で新しく作られたんですけれども、この作品だけでなく、今回、建物、この作品の入っている建物自体も、もともと駐車場だった場所に新しく作りました。今ちょっともう外暗いんですけど、昼間に撮った写真がありますので、ちょっと見ていただければと思います。これですね。これが新しくできた建物です。もともとはここが駐車場でした。で、この中に入るとこれが作品の全体像です。で、この床に建物のファサードがあって、で、その向こうに建物が映ってるのが、これが鏡になっていて、でこの鏡がちょうど45度の角度でつけられています。でこの辺りからちょっと徐々にレアンドロさんに質問していきたいんですけれども、我々がレアンドロと一緒に、この作品を考えていくときに、結構最初にレアンドロが結構注意深く考えていたところが、この部屋の天井の高さをどのぐらいにするかっていうことと、あともう一つはこの手前の、作品の手前のスペースですね。ちょうど今私がいる場所なんですけれど、人がこの作品を見るためのスペースを、どれだけの幅を取るかっていうことをかなり慎重に考えていたっていうのがレアンドロとのやり取りの中で印象的だったことです。この建物の高さを考えたり、この手前のスペースの大きさを考えたりするときに、レアンドロがどういうことを考えてたのかっていうのをちょっと聞いてみたいです。
Well, there are two elements. One is hello everybody first. One of the about the height, it is a matter of when we were discussing about in this case in Towada for as you mentioned before, Meruro, we have to build a building in order to encase the artwork. So in terms of the height of the facade, is a matter of for this project, the bâtiment or the building facade project, the minimum height of this building should be about 2 or 3 story building, which is what we have made, ground floor and 2 stories above. And this is important because in order to create this verticality on the level from the flat level, to have a sense of height, it was important to have this dimension for the artwork. But in this case, the artwork affect the height of the other building, like the museum building. So we have to go through this process at the very beginning in order to establish what is the minimum height in Towada, in order to combine these 2 elements that they will come together.
手前のギャザリングスペースっていうふうに我々が呼んでいたこの場所についてはどうでしょう？
So yes, the gathering space is this space in front of the work where people will access into the gallery, and this is a space as an important space because interactive and participatory artwork, but people it's not only the people who steps on the facade or who are let's say interacting, but also the people who are viewing is the visitors on the platform of the building. So the gathering is important as the facade in a way that neutral space just in front was someone who is not going to be inside, is not going to be reflected on the mirror, but is someone is in the position of the viewer. I was saying that the gathering space equally important as the in consideration for the space as the facade, because the space for gathering it allowed us to estimate how many people would be visiting the room at the same time.
つまりそのギャザリングスペースから、見ている人と、それとあとこの建物というか、作品の上に乗って、いる人との間の関係っていうのが、この作品にとって非常に重要なポイントであるというふうに理解してよろしいでしょうか。
Exactly. As it's exactly right. I think that I consider that the people who are interacting with the work are not only the people who are on the facade, those who are also looking at the scene, those who are looking at others, on the interacting on top of the building are equally important, because this mirror surface becomes somehow, the interface, interconnecting people. So people are on the facade, are seeing themselves, but also they are seeing other people who are seeing them. So so gathering space, I can even like the idea that the whole installation is a gathering space in a way.
レアンドロと我々の間ではそのギャザリングスペースっていうふうに言ってますけど、そのギャザーっていうのは人と人が集まってくる場所っていうような意味でしょうか。
Yes, exactly.
それは私が結構面白いなと思ってるのは、もちろんグループでつまりあらかじめ知ってる人同士がここを2人とか4人とかで訪ねて来て、体験するっていうこともありますけど、その時に全然知らない人同士が一緒になったりすることもあって、でもそこで知らない人同士の間でもいろいろちょっとやり取りが生まれてくるっていうことも、この作品の面白いところじゃないかと思ってます。
are interacting. It's like an individual experience, but at the same time, it becomes a collective performance, because those who are interacting with the work, they are also offering somehow a kind of a performative action, and so that reinforces the action of those who are passive in the, let's say, what we call the gathering space as a viewer. So they are not only seeing the artwork. They are not. This is an artwork that is not about seeing the object. It's just the empty objects, but you need the participation of the audience on it in order to fully understand and complete the work.
この作品も含めてレアンドロの作品を見た人がこれはトリックアートなんですかっていうふうに、聞かれたりすることもあるんですけれども、レアンドロは、その自分の作品をトリックアートとの違いみたいなのをどういうふうに考えてますか？
Well, I think that before, instead of talking optical illusions, I would talk about perception. I'm interested in perception, and I think many of my works, there is something which is there's a sense of perception. There's something that looks perception, but so perception for me is the basis for what in a way for how we are able to understand the world, how we are able to perceive art, how we are able to understand how things are. Perception is at the core of our. I always say perception is the inner tool, the tool we all born with in order to understand the nature of things. So in a way, I think that for me is the let's say this illusion aspect or the visual illusion of some of the works is, let's say, the starting point for this experience, because the work proposes something that is inviting people to participate on the work, but so it creates this let's say the experience to be taking on something out of the ordinary, and this is the, let's say, for me is the first. It's like an act. It's like a theater act in two stages. One where we are able to see something, and the second where we are able to understand. And what I always propose in the work is are situations that are there is this sense in many of these works. There is a sense of illusion, but there is no aim on tricking. It's actually everything is open for the audience to understand. And I think this action of being able to recognize and understand what is the situation like is something that creates, it's the same mechanism that we use in order to be aware how to create. So I'm interested in the state of awareness. Let's, for a moment, allowed me to make a small reflection in the timeline for humankind. How when perception has been always with us. We have been able to understand how things are, and little by little, I mean, from the beginning of time, we are able to we develop our intellect, and we develop our interaction with the world. And the basis, the opening was, the first element to be able to understand how things are and what things are or were was perception. But for a long period of time, I think that I would say that even if there is an evolution on human perception, it's a very slow evolution. So basically, what I try to say is that this idea of questioning or inviting people to question the order or the understanding of reality through perception is something, from my point of view, very relevant in the time we are living, because even my work has in this case, there's no technology involved. It's a very basic and there's no high-tech elements. I think this is this altering, facing situations which are not real or not exactly what real is, what the reality or the manipulation of reality. I think is a crucial element in the time we live in.
ありがとうございます。丁寧に話してくださって、この認識の変化の話ももっといろいろ聞いてみたいところではあるんですけど、もう一つちょっと別のトピックとしてお伺いしたいのが、この作品が展示される場所との関係についてです。で、最初この建物っていうシリーズが作られたのはもうかなり前の2004年に最初にパリで発表されていると思いますけれども、その時はパリで発表するっていうのがあったからパリの建物のファサードを作ってたと思います。でそれを今度別の街で展示するときには、これが今写真写ってるのがこれが最初のパリでやった時のものですね。でこれを今度例えば中国でやるときには、中国の建物のファサードを使ったりしていて、で実はこの十和田で展示をしようというときに最初にレアンドロが送ってくれたアイディアっていうのもレアンドロが十和田のこれですね、十和田のいろんな建物の写真をこちらの我々の方で撮って、例えばこの今画面に映ってる右のような写真を撮ってでそれをレアンドロに送りました。でその送った写真を参考にしながらいろんな要素を組み合わせて作ってくれたのがこの左のプロポーザルでした。でしかしその後レアンドロといろいろ検討して、結局この案は採用せずにレアンドロの生まれ育った場所であるブエノスアイレスの建物のファサードを使うことにしました。でここでちょっとレアンドロに聞いてみたいのはその作品をこの建物っていうシリーズを展示する場所とあとそのファサードのデザインの関係についてどのように考えているかっていうところをまずちょっとお聞きしたいと思います。
I thought that it was a very interesting, at the end, I feel like it was a very interesting decision. They want to install a facade from Buenos Aires into Towada. It creates a new reading on the piece itself. In general, there always this installation has proposed to be connected to the local environment. But as Meruro mentioned in the beginning of the process, looking at Towada's architecture, I mean, not many buildings of 3-story buildings exist in Towada. Usually are low houses. So in order to make the installation work, we had to look for, we started looking for what kind of building we would use. And that's how everything started. If you take in consideration, for example, when we showed this work at the Mori Museum back in 2018, when we created Batimon series for the Mori exhibition, I had used the French facade. And we had used the French type of building. I think that at the end, a house is a house, and despite the, let's say, despite this aesthetics of being able to recognize the situation, the window, the door, and in this case, I think that to visit the Towada installation is to visit my work, but also in a way to visit me, to visit my city.
ありがとうございます。今回のこの作品を十和田にこの作品を作るプロジェクトの中で、一番十和田の建物を参照にしたものにするのか、別のブエノスアイレスの建物にするのかっていうそこの決断が一番難しかったところだなと思っています。そろそろちょっと時間になってきたんですけれども、この後見ていらっしゃる方からの質問があればそちらに移っていきたいと思います。
Yes, indeed, it's very much like, it looks like, the traditional facade from Buenos Aires, which are, as you can see, has some European aesthetics, because Buenos Aires, remember, is a city that was, Argentina was a Spanish colony before, and then we have a lot of influence from Spain and France and from Italy in terms of the aesthetic of the houses and buildings. I would say this house is a typical house of let's say 1920s, 1930s, 1920s. Actually, the first facade, the one that was made in Paris, it is completely flat. But this was related, not because the project was meant to be this way, but the project was meant to be presented only for one night. It was installed for an event called the Nuit Blanche, the White Night. And so the project required to be installed very, very quick and be installed the following day. So we had to come up with a solution that was not for permanent installations such as the one we are having at Towada, or even in other venues where we have a long exhibition period of time. We have the capacity and the possibility to also, of course, due to budget and the time for installation, to develop the facade and to create a more realistic facade.
最後にじゃあレアンドロに、この、作品をどういうふうに楽しんでほしいかっていうことがありましたらメッセージいただけたらと思います。
I'm very, very thrilled to this is I have created many editions of the Batimon series around the world ever since 2004. as you have mentioned. And this is the first time and the only permanent installation of this work in the world. So for me, it's really, really a great honor that is installed in Towada. I really hope people are able to visit the museum, because this is it's one of my major works. And also, I think Towada has an extreme fantastic collection, and the quality of their installations and artworks presented in the museum. I look forward to be able to travel again to Japan and be able to meet you in person and to also see the work.
Thank you so much, Leandro. ご視聴いただきました皆様、本当にどうもありがとうございます。ぜひ、実際に十和田市現代美術館に、来ていただいて、この作品を体験していただければと思います。ありがとうございました。
ありがとう。Thank you.